Councillors, before we start the meeting, I'd just like it noted that Councillor McWade has given his apologies as the chair of the meeting for this evening. He's unwell, in accordance with section S21.13 of the Code of Meeting Practice, which says if neither the chairperson nor the deputy chairperson of a committee of council is able or willing to preside at a meeting of the committee must elect a member of the committee to be acting chairperson of the committee. A lot of committees in there. I note that Chairperson Trent McWade has nominated in writing that Councillor Castles act as chairperson. In his absence at the meeting, would another member of the committee be prepared to move a procedural motion to elect Councillor Castles as presiding chairperson of this meeting? Councillor McGregor. Seconder. Councillor Daniels. All in favour? Thank you. I now hand over to Councillor Castles.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, welcome to this library review panel meeting. We haven't had one for a few months because, as you know, we've had some community consultation, which we will talk about later. But I'd just like to remind councillors that this is a public meeting, so to be mindful of your actions and your comments, you should avoid making statements that might defame or offend, and please turn off mobile phones or put them on silent. And I also welcome members of the public to tonight's meeting. I remind you all that you are attending as observers only and are not permitted to speak during the meeting. Filming and photography are not permitted in this meeting, and anybody observed to be filming the meeting may be asked to leave. So now I'm declaring the meeting open at 5:04 p.m. And also to say, I think, Director Smith, did you already mention the audio-visual link with Councillor McQuaid, or am I doing that bit?
No, I haven't done that as
Okay,
yet.
thank you. So a request has been received by Councillor McQuaid to attend this meeting by audio-visual link in accordance with clause 6.21 of the Code of Meeting Practice. Therefore, I move the following procedural motion: that the committee approves the request by Councillor McQuaid to attend the review panel current library building meeting on Thursday the 7th of August 2025 by audio-visual link, as he's unable to attend in person for personal reasons. Okay. So a warm welcome to everybody. I'll just do an acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we live, work and play, and we pay our respects to Darking Young Country and elders past and present. We recognise the continued connection to these lands and waterways, and extend this acknowledgement to the homelands and stories of those who also call this place home. We recognise our future leaders and the shared responsibility to care for and protect our place and people. Now, any apologies? I don't think we have apologies from anybody else this evening? Or from anybody this evening, because everybody is in attendance.
Sorry, Councillor Castle. I'll
Yep.
put my light on. If you could.
Could I ask for a mover and a seconder in regards to accepting Councillor McQuaid into the meeting as a voting member? Councillor McGregor and Councillor Smith. All those in favour? Carried. Welcome, Councillor McQuaid. Okay. Now we're going to do the disclosures of interest. And I'll ask committee members to disclose any conflicts they may have in terms of tonight's agenda. Firstly, for myself, I have confirmed a general, conflict of interest, non-pecuniary, non-significant, in relation to this matter, because as I have had many people from the community contact me to give me their insights into the library issue, and I felt that it was important to actually declare that. Having said that, I consider that to be part of my role as a councillor, and therefore I will participate in the meeting, discussion and voting on any matters that arise. Thank you. Councillor, where are we next? Councillor McQuaid, any declarations?
No conflicts of interest, Chair.
Thank you. Who's next? Councillor Daniels?
Nothing to declare.
Councillor McGregor?
No conflicts.
Thank you. Councillor Smith?
Chair, I'll just note, I don't think it's a conflict of interest, but I will just note that in one of the reports it mentions a building in Gosford that I work out of, that is a council building. So it's non-pecuniary, non-significant, but I'll just note that.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Stanton?
Nothing to declare, thank you.
Thank you. So that's all the declarations.
Excuse me,
yes,
Madam Chair.
Yep.
Out of an abundance of caution,
Yep.
I believe it's appropriate that those in attendance who are councillors but not actually voting members should declare any interest.
I agree with you, Councillor Neal.
Particularly since we may influence the decision by speaking.
Yep.
Having said that, I do not have a conflict of interest, but I just thought it was important to raise that in case those circumstances applied to some other non-voting member.
No, thank you for reminding me of that, because I'd forgotten. Councillor Crowley?
I have no conflict.
Councillor Walsh?
Madam Chair, I, like yourself, have had a number of conversations with community members. Also see that as part of my role as a councillor, and I will remain in the chamber.
Okay, thank you.
Participate in discussion, yeah.
Thank you. That's everybody, isn't it? Have I missed anybody? Oh, Councillor Mond.
Nothing to declare, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so we're on to item 1.3, which is the confirmation of minutes. We actually do have two lots of minutes, I'm not sure if that's the right terminology. The one from the 12th of February 2025 and the 27th of February 2025. Do I have a mover to confirm these minutes? Councillor McGregor, a seconder? Councillor Daniels, I think you had your hand up first. So just putting the motion around confirmation of the minutes. All those in favour of confirming them? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. So we've accepted the minutes. Right. Okay. Moving right along. Item 1.4 is in regards to Gosford Library consultation outcomes. And I would like to, at this point, just invite Director Melanie Smith to speak to the report that, that was in the business papers.
Thank you, Chair. As you would be aware, councillors, the community consultation regarding the existing Gosford Library was conducted over a 4-week period from the 14th of May until the 11th of June 2025. And the objective of the consultation was to seek community feedback on the future of the existing library building. The consultation report is at attachment 2 and provides a summary of the findings identified through the consultation. I'll hand back to the Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have actually got I can't see anybody wants to speak at this point. We do have a recommendation that the committee notes the outcomes of the community consultation regarding the future use of the existing library, 118 Donaldson Street, Gosford, and endorses the escalation of the matter to council for a decision on the future of the building. And we do have 3 options for consideration. But the main thing I'm wondering is, do we do the recommendation that we're noting the outcomes? Is that where we should be going with this advice?
Councillor Castles, I could assist you in that.
Oh, Councillor McGregor?
Thank you, Councillor Castles. Look, I rise to move the following, that we preserve 1. When it comes to number 2, there are 3 options in front of us there. Delete option 1, demolish the existing library building and progress, etc., etc. And then with option 2 to remain, and option 3 to be deleted as well.
Is that...
We just need to tidy up the 3 options for consideration. Yep. We'll just say, so option 1 there, and then where it says endorse the escalation matter to the council for decision on the future of the committee, and say noting the committee's recommendation of option 2 below.
I know, yeah. I'm just making sure Councillor McGregor's got the wording up there.
And just delete that bit about the 3 options, because we're just presenting option 2 as our preferred option.
Okay.
Okay. I'll seek a second.
Do I have a seconder for that?
With some potential changes on the second, but I don't know whether we want to do that now or later.
Look, I'll just speak very briefly to it and then reserve my right to consider amendments, and then also reserve my right of reply as well. Councillors on the committee and those in the gallery, I rise to support option 2 from the staff recommendation. I believe that when you have a supermajority of people through an extensive process of community consultation come to us with over 75% saying they need the building retained, and we've heard many of the positive reasons for its future uses, be they commercial or community, this is the option that the community want us to travel in. It's the options, it's the consultation that we've gone through now that should have happened years ago, when an unelected person was making decisions on behalf of a region that they had no real ambit to do so. Now that we've had the community speak, I believe it is our job as a review committee to put forward the option to the full council for their determination in line with that community consultation, particularly given, and I do note, that it is a supermajority of over 75% of people and over 1,200 sample sizes as well, from my initial reading of it. So that's all I'll say for now, but happy to consider any further amendments should they enhance the recommendation to council, and then obviously have my right of reply should I need to. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm still needing a seconder. Oh, sorry, Councillor Daniels, did you second? Oh, okay, Councillor Smith, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Could I just ask the staff just to zoom in on that? I'm just having trouble reading that, sorry. So I would like to suggest to the mover or ask if he will accept some tweaking of this motion. So firstly, that the committee recommends that council up the top, of course. Happy with 1. Instead of 2, and I apologise I haven't crafted any wording on this at the moment, but if the staff could just type up this too, and then if necessary. So the first thing is that we recommend that council seek any action or consideration of the demolition of the existing Gosford Library building, and that probably needs a bit of crafting. Number two would be that we recommend that council seeks heritage protection of this building, or makes application for the strongest heritage protection of this building that is possible. I'm happy to come back and, where are you looking? That the community ceases any action. Yes, I wasn't seeking demolition, rest assured. Number two is that we recommend that council applies for heritage protection of the building. Number three would be that council makes the existing building available for community use, appropriate community use, e.g. meetings, now, as soon as possible. And number four would be that council either continues this existing committee or looks at some other kind of group, councillor group, that considers the long-term use of the building, or engages in a process to consider the long-term use. So that wording is quite clumsy, and I'm sorry about that. And I'm happy for some assistance from either staff or councillors to tweak that, if the mover accepts the intent of those parts.
Councillor McGregor. What's going on here? Oh, someone's got.
Okay, that's better.
It's working. Okay.
All right. So I understand the intent. So if we can set up an addendum, so point 3, to my resolution, where it says we recommend that council ceases any action regarding the demolition of the existing Gosford Council building.
Gosford
Do you mean to say
Library.
Gosford Library?
Yes, that's right. And I mean
Yeah.
the council building as well, and that's a separate committee meeting.
Oh, all good things come to those who wait, I believe the good book says. Okay, so if we can have a point 3, that the committee, or that this committee, and then include the recommend blah, blah, blah. So I'm happy with that, if that wording is okay with the others. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Well, they've already got the contract and everything for it. It's just on hold at the moment. So number 2, what does it say? So recommend, it shouldn't say recommend that council applies for heritage protection of the building. So that can go in as well. Don't have any issue with that going in. Yeah. Perfect. What's the next one there? Council either council make the existing building available for appropriate community use as soon as possible. Again, that sounds fine to me. I'm sure the officers can work that out, should that be a full resolution of the council in time. So unless there's any massive objections, please let me know if there is any dramas with that. Otherwise, happy to go ahead with that one as well. And when it comes to that last one, that the committee recommend either that the committee continue, or another group of councillors be established to consider the continued use of the building. So I'm happy I'm happy to accept it in substance, but we've probably got to craft the wording a little bit there. So that the committee recommend council either continue this committee
maybe this group could decide whether they want to continue as a committee for that purpose.
Yep. So I mean, we can address that in debate. If people want to speak to that, I'm happy for people to put forward their ideas. But in terms of intent, whether it's this group or another group of councillors, let's just make sure that we've got that enshrined in that, so that the committee recommend that council either continues this committee, or instead of saying other council group, can we say or another group, or establish another group of councillors? So or establish another group of councillors to consider the long-term usage of the building, or use of the building is more succinct, whichever, I don't really care. So yeah, happy to accept those addendums. Do any other councillors have anything they want to add?
Councillor McQuaid, I see you have your hand up. Is that?
I just can't see on my screen the top of the amendment. I oppose the. Just let me have a quick read. I don't mind option 2 when we first put it up, and I was going to vote for that. I don't like the amendment of number 3. I feel that number 4 can be dealt with later. And number 5 the same, and number 6 I don't mind either. So I just want to oppose my views and just keep number 2 as the preferred option and keep it simple. And number 6. I can't really talk at the moment, so I can't speak any further, sorry.
That's all right. So,
Chair, can I speak to the motion? I haven't had that
yes.
opportunity yet. Yeah.
I would suggest that option 2 should be removed from the motion, because it's not actually an option 2, bearing in mind that it is the only option. So I might ask the mover of the motion, Councillor McGregor, to remove the wording option 2. Oh, it's been taken out as I was speaking. Thank you.
So,
You're right, Chair. May I speak to this?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Sorry,
Okay,
you're
thank
next,
you.
Councillor Smith. Apologies.
Yes. Sorry, I'll just check if Councillor McGregor accepts.
Councillor McGregor?
So you've, where it says noting the recommendation of, you've taken out option 2 in that, and then where it said option 2 in front of pursue a commit, is that the only change that you're suggesting?
I don't think it needs that sentence, does it? It doesn't need the sentence endorse the escalation of the matter, because the minutes go to council.
I'd be amazed if people watching this and the people who have to act on this don't understand the intent of it. I don't think it really makes a huge amount of difference, to be honest.
So the motion that we've currently got on the board here,
if the intent is to delete option 2 because option 2 is for whatever reason untidy, I really don't see that being a major change, so I'm happy with that. Doesn't bother me. I tend to think people might have read the original report and recommendation before they got to this point, but
Councillor Smith, you have your light on.
Thank you, Chair. Look, I'll just speak to this. It is very clear from the community consultation that there is overwhelming support for the retention of the current Gosford Library. I did find the report on the consultation a little frustrating, and lots of interpretations of data, or it wasn't a very straightforward report, which was disappointing. I think the evidence was very clear, the feedback was very clear, and I just would have appreciated that the consultant just reported what the community was saying rather than trying to put various versions of interpretations on it. In my view, that seemed to want to weaken the strong feeling. So, having said that, it is overwhelmingly supportive of retaining the existing library. It is clear from the emails, the correspondence, the presentations, all the information that has been provided to this review panel that there is significant heritage value in this building. Of course, there is the eye of the beholder that might say it's an ugly building, but that is almost irrelevant to the facts in terms of the merits of this building for heritage that have been expressed by experts in heritage. And the other point is, let's just get on with this. This has been going on long enough. Lots of people have spent lots of time trying to highlight that council, or the strong feeling of our community to retain this building. And I am hoping that we can make this recommendation, that the council can adopt the recommendation as is, and that we can get on to making this a really valuable community, or part of that community space in Kibble Park. I understand the various concerns about safety and design, and they do not exclude us proceeding down this path. I would also just highlight, I noted in one of the reports, it referenced a whole lot of community spaces in Gosford. I'd have to say probably 2 weeks ago I was looking for a community space in Gosford to hold a workshop. I jumped on council's website, I couldn't find one listed for Gosford area, and the one I thought that was at East Gosford, the hall isn't listed, so I don't even know if that hall exists anymore. So even though there's a whole lot of buildings listed, I don't know that they are on our website as venues that council manages and that are available for hire for these purposes. So councillors, I hope that we can just get behind this resolution, including when it comes to the ordinary council meeting, and then proceed. And I would just ask, the intent of part 3 up there is to clearly not proceed with the demolition. So I would like staff to assist with some wording that now rules that out as a recommendation from this committee. I don't think what I've put up there is strong enough. Thank you.
Councillor Daniels, you've had your light on.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not quite sure how to word it, and I do agree with everything everybody's saying. The community has been quite strong in their opinion that the building should be kept. Just playing devil's advocate for a minute. So I totally agree that we should go out for expressions of interest. My main concern is that if we can't find a suitable tenant or somebody who can fill the space and perhaps find grant funding or something to help with the quite high costs that it's going to be to get it up to standard. I just think we sort of need something in there, like an option to go forward if we cannot find someone to fill the space, is my only concern, because we don't have that guarantee that we're going to find the right person, and I'd hate for us to be left with a vacant building and no way to fund it or fill it. So.
I think I can see Councillor McQuaid, you've got your hand up. I think Councillor Neal, you might have wanted to say something. You had your light on, I think, before.
Yes, so I'm very much like the Speaker in favour of the motion, but if this matter is to be investigated and sorted out, I'm happy to wait until that's negotiated before I actually speak more generally in support.
Thanks. I think Councillor McQuaid, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to share my concerns similar to Councillor Daniels. I take into consideration Councillor Smith, Councillor McGregor's comments, and I somewhat agree with them. But I think if we're going to have any success in doing this right, we should leave it out as leave it in as an option. Play the devil's advocate and make sure we can successfully and sustainably get people in there. And if we can't just have. I'm scared we're going to have this lemon, sitting there for 50, 60 years. And to me, the way I interpret this current motion, number 3 is pretty much number 2. Am I right in that, or does anyone else see it that way? I'm just trying to make it as efficient as possible, so when we come to the actual council meeting in a few weeks, we can just get it through without, further debate and have a really strong recommendation there.
Okay. Councillor Smith. Mm. Okay. I think, Councillor Crowley, you may have something you wish to say, and we may perhaps move anybody else who wants to speak to it. Yes, Belinda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Councillor Crowley.
I'm just a bit confused as to why anyone would think that we might not have tenants that want to use that building. I can think of at least 2 organisations at the moment who would take it full time and pay rent for it full time and use it. So I'm not really sure why we're talking about that, really. They've only got to go out to the community and talk to people, and you'll quickly find out that there's a great big line that wants to use it.
Thanks.
Thanks.
You. Councillor McQuaid, you have your hand up again, I think. I don't mean that in a bad
Thank
way.
you,
I'm
Chair.
just saying you've got your hand up again.
That's okay. I don't want to talk to anyway. I just want to clarify what I meant is that I think we should throw a fair process out there of expression of interest. As Councillor Crowley said, I know there are a number of organisations that want to use it. However, let's throw it out there in an official capacity and see if they actually put an application in and express their interest. That's where I was getting at with that point.
Okay. Now, I think Councillor Neal, and then we might possibly be at the point we may be able to wrap it up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe it's very important that we proceed with the decision to retain the old Gosford Library building. I do note that the heritage value of this building is well recognised, and that there's some suggestion that it would have been listed as a Gosford heritage item, except for something that went astray back in 2016. But clearly it's recognised by the National Trust, and also very clearly when we heard from the New South Wales architect, he certainly saw the value in it. The second issue, of course, as it's been stated by Councillor McGregor and also Councillor Smith, is the overwhelming view of the community as expressed through the community consultation, that this is an important part of our culture and heritage on the Central Coast. That the community itself, not only experts in the field, not only historians, not only those who have particular training in the cultural areas of the Central Coast, but just the general community, the people who live as residents on the Central Coast, believe that it is a building of value, that they value, and that they would like to see it retained. There is also, I think, some concern that the decision that was made to demolish the building was made during the period of the administration of the council. and it's clearly not a decision democratically made to remove that building, and was done so, I believe, without proper consideration of the community. And I hasten to add that that decision was made not in circumstances where our present director was there, but I don't think was a proper consideration of the community's views and the value they clearly feel this building is. I've heard some suggestions that we should remove the old Gosford Library because it will somehow impede the view of the park from the new library. In my view, I feel quite the opposite, that the view of the old library has a synergy and a value to look out from an old new building, which is quite beautiful, to look at an old building that is also valued by the community. I think it enhances not only Kibble Park, but also how our community feels about our place and our cultural background. So I urge the councillors here to support this motion. It is clearly something the experts, both outside the Central Coast and within the Central Coast, support. We've of course heard extensively from Meryl Jackson, who is a local historian, about the value of the building and her views. And clearly these views are supported by the community. So I urge councillors to support the retention of this building. I certainly am of the view that we do need to ensure that it's properly used and utilised by the community, and I accept and understand the matters raised by Councillor McWade and also by Councillor Daniels, but they are a second step. These can be dealt with quite easily by the retention of a committee such as this to ensure that the proper care of the building is undertaken and that it's properly utilised. But I don't believe that will be a substantial problem. And there has also been some mention of the financial resources required to alter the building and also to retain it. There's a suggestion for reasons that are a bit unclear, within the community consultation, an estimate of the cost of 4.2 to bring the building up to a satisfactory standard. I'm not sure if the person preparing a community consultation has sufficient expertise to make an accurate assessment of those building works. But clearly, even if it were to the full extent suggested, which is 4.2 million, that we presently having budgeted for a surplus of $10 million, are expecting a surplus in the realm of $40 million, a gap of some 30 million. And despite the fact I don't believe it would be appropriate to certainly use all those additional funds for this building, there's certainly a scope within our excess, what I might call our excess surplus, to fund the construction of this building. The estimated upkeep of the building is $75,000 a year. In my view, a small sum for the value that the community has indicated that they put on this building. And I think certainly that it's worthwhile to pay a sum like that to retain this cultural heritage and also to use it for community purposes. I think there would be a huge demand for. So I urge the councillors to support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Neil. I'm just going to go to Councillor Walsh, who has got her light flashing for quite some time, and I note that Councillor McQuaid does have his hand up, and I will go to you after that, Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just listening to Councillor McWade's and Councillor Daniels' concerns, I'm just wondering if the mover, if we could have some I'm really asking clarification. Point 5, that the committee recommends to council that council makes the existing building available for appropriate community use, e.g. meetings, as soon as possible. I'm wondering if taking out meetings, because there could be a swathe of uses other than simply meetings possible. I'm just wondering if the mover and seconder would be open to leaving that out so that broader use could be considered as soon as possible. Significantly broader use could be considered as soon as possible, including meetings, but not only meetings. Yeah.
Is that something the mover would accept or
Look,
consider?
I'll say this. I think that this is starting to get very confusing. So the wording as it is fine. It to me it provides enough clarity. I was going to wait till the right of reply to ask the staff if there was any uncertainty around any of this, if any of it was unlawful or anything of the like. When it says example for something that could be an appropriate community use, I don't think we need to be super prescriptive about what those uses are, and I trust in people to be able to do that anyway. So with it as it stands, I'm happy to seek a further addendum, but I don't really see any need to change any of the other dot points at this point, and I can address that in my right of reply as to why, or through a question should I need to.
Okay, thank you. I think I was going to. Oh, no, not going to. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Chair. Can I just clarify at least my intention between point 5 and point 6? Is that point 5 is saying, let's not leave the building empty. Let's allow people to book it for meetings or whatever they need to have under the management of council, as council currently manages halls and facilities around the Central Coast. Point 6 is we need to go through that process of considering whether there's a longer term lease or organisation to move in there for some purpose. Now, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, you know, there's pros and cons, as councillors have said. So point 5 is about not leaving it empty, allowing groups to go and use that facility as they would use a hall or as they would have a meeting somewhere. And I know staff will tell me that the new library has meeting rooms, and I get that, but this is another space. Whereas point 6 is looking at the longer term option. So if that needs further wording to be clear, then I'd be happy to take some guidance on that. But if I may, Chair, just come back to the other couple of points. So I was looking for some wording about the demolition. I don't know whether staff can assist with that.
Yeah.
Some stronger wording, whether it needs to be that we are recommending the rescission of some decision, but I think the decision was combined with the buildings next to the council building, wasn't it?
Is it? This is. You're talking about point 3, are you,
Yes.
Jane? Councillor Smith.
Yeah.
So,
Is there any guidance? No.
are you
Yes.
looking for some advice?
I'm looking to anybody up on the front bench.
Okay. Well, so to either
Through,
Director Borgoff or Director Smith. Any
through you,
comments?
Madam Chair, to Councillor Smith. I think it's very clear the intention in relation to this matter standing. There's been sufficient time and change in the project to have it stand alone as is.
Oh, Director, I've been caught out before on that kind of stuff. So let's make it clear that recommend council rescinds any decision to demolish the current Gosford Library building. Maybe that's sufficiently clear enough. Chair, just while I've got the floor, I did just want to add a part 7, if I may. That is that council allocates the funds or reallocates the funds, that the funding allocated for the demolition of the library be retained or restricted for ongoing actions related to the current, the existing Gosford Library. So I think it is a new addition there. I think there's about 400,000 allocated for the demolition. Yep. So I know staff have highlighted various little bits of work or big bits of work to be done on the building. I know there is an argument that's come through in the consultation that says if it was heritage listed, some of those things may not be necessary. And there's also a question mark about the necessity of some of those things anyway, in my mind. But that money should be retained for this building. Since it's already allocated to get rid of the building, it can now be allocated to retain the building. And just my last point, and then I promise I'll stop. Number 6, can we just recommend the council continues this committee rather than be vague in the intent. Thank you.
Can I ask Councillor McGregor, do you, as the mover, are you okay with point 7 here that Councillor Smith's put forward?
Well, firstly, point 3, the change there, yeah, I am happy with that. I'm also satisfied with the director's comments, but I'll
Okay.
go with it for the committee so that we can get this off to the actual council that makes this final decision.
Yep.
And the point 7, I'm happy to just read through that and have a think about it now. So funding allocated for the demolition library be retained or restricted for ongoing action. What's after that?
For ongoing, again, any wording from the senior staff for ongoing maintenance or
Through,
Yep.
through you,
Director
Madam
Bolger.
Chair, to Councillor Smith. It can't be ongoing maintenance, it'll have to be capital work. So
for any capital works associated with the building.
Okay.
So
Retained and restricted. Just all restricted. Please, thank you.
for capital works or capital improvements of the library, is that what you were saying?
Director Bolgoff, your
capital works,
Capital works, yeah.
because it may not be an improvement, it may be some sort of renewal, so it might not be slightly better than what it is.
okay.
And just a question, if I may, through your chair.
Sure.
Councillor Daniels has raised a good point with me just then. In regards to option 2, having the demolition of the Parkside, that's all right, just turn it off. The Parkside building, is that currently budgeted?
Through you, Director Bolgoff,
No.
perhaps?
Through your Madam Chair, to Councillor. No, it's not budgeted.
Okay. I do have some concerns about putting up unbudgeted proposals to council, so I'm just I'm reconsidering whether we should include to demolish the adjacent Parkhouse building if it's unbudgeted. What necessitated that inclusion in the recommendation?
Can either perhaps Director Smith or Bolgoff answer that question or give us some insight?
I can, through you, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you.
So you may recall at one of the previous committee meetings, there was conversation around if the existing library were to be retained, then one of the options would be to look at demolishing the Parkhouse to give the larger footprint of green space in the Gosford CBD.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I
Well,
think, sorry.
having heard that, I might actually seek to change that then, because perhaps we should have some review on that. So where it says pursue a commercial opportunity or community use for the building, revise the Kill Park Place plan, and then just delete where it says and demolish the adjacent Parkhouse building. Yeah, delete that. Retain the building while determining the feasibility and funding sources to repurpose this building. Can we add an additional point 7? Oh, sorry, point 8 rather, because we've just had a point 7. This gets more and more complicated the more information you find out about it. Point 8, that the future of the Parkhouse building be considered by this committee or its replacement, subject to funding being identified and community consultation occurring. I just get the figures and then do the consultation, go from there.
Okay.
Sorry, what did you say? Number 2. We'll just let them finish typing out that one. And then
I know that Councillor McQuaid does have his hand up as well, so once we've got this bit organised, I'll just flip to Councillor McQuaid.
So what are you saying? You want to take out retain the building?
Well, I think
I think that second sentence. I mean, I don't think that paragraph is necessary. We're kind of saying all of that in the other parts of the motion.
Well, I think we've kind of gone a little bit away from where we were when we started this, but say retain the library building for point 2, where it says after Kibble Park Place Plan, retain the library building while determining the feasibility and funding sources.
Full stop. It's not just while we're determining the feasibility. We're not just retaining it while we determine feasibility and funding sources.
As I've mentioned many times through this, ultimately the process is this is going to go back to council and the full 15 will decide it. So we've been debating this for over half an hour.
Yeah.
I think I'm happy just to leave it at that.
Okay, so just going to wind this up in a minute, but I do have Councillor McQuaid's had his hand up for quite some time. So we'll just go to Councillor McQuaid, and I think that we may be at the point then where we can put the motion. Councillor McQuaid?
Thank you, Chair. And through you, Chair, to the relevant director or staff. To point 5, what does that look like in terms of staff for council? Hasn't been costed, as Councillor McGregor was just saying, in relation to another point, insurances and all the other costs that are involved into keeping it open and available for community use. I think we're best served to maybe say council investigates keeping it open currently to see, what it looks like, the mechanics, and what it looks like, what the cost looks like.
Okay.
For instance, staffing it and insurances.
I'm just so perhaps through to Director Bolgoff to give us some insight into that, Councillor McQuaid.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Councillor McQuaid. I know Councillor McGregor was going to ask that question, and I did have some suggested changes in line with what you were suggesting. Because it is unfunded, there would be staff that may need to be involved with, security opening, closing, and those sorts of things. So I think, explore options or investigate to be included in that would satisfy my concerns in relation to how that was structured.
Okay.
So would the mover be open to changing point 5 in terms of that?
Councillor McGregor?
Look, I'm happy to hear some wording for the point 5 if the director wants to put something forward for point 5.
Director Bolgoff?
Thank you. All I was thinking is to add something on the lines of council explore options to have the building available, to have the same intent of what exactly you were saying, but so we can explore options to be able to have that open as soon as possible. So I think everything else is fine with adding, council explore options to have. I can't see it, the rest of the wording there, but that would be the intent. So we can get back to council.
If we can just get the number 5 up there so we can actually read it. So the committee recommends to council make the existing building available for appropriate community use. Do you want to say the committee recommends the council explore? Hang on, lost it. Where'd it go? The council explore making the existing building available for appropriate community use. Does that cover that? Yes. Yep. Okay. So we could change the wording for number 5 to that council explore options making the existing building, and just keep the rest of it after that.
Mm-hmm.
As seconded, can I just clarify that point?
Councillor Smith? Sorry, I'll go to Councillor Neal afterwards, and then we're going to wind up.
Yeah, so sorry, Director, I just missed obviously a critical point that you made. The building's now being used. What's the issue with it being used once it's vacated?
So in simple terms, and I may need some further advice from Director Smith, but there are library staff that are manning that particular building, and they won't be manning that building. So if it's been made available for community use, there'd have to be some intervention by staff, and I have to understand that before I could support that particular wording of the recommendation.
Sorry, what did you say? There'd have to be some what? I didn't quite catch that.
Staff, as I said, at the moment, some library staff are opening, closing, etc. that particular building. The library staff won't be there, and other staff would have to make that available, open it and close it, and I haven't got information on that.
Okay, when I book a hall, I don't need staff to be there. I go and pick up a key. I go into the hall, I use it, I bring the key back. There's going to be a library across the road. I really am concerned that this is putting a barrier that certainly needs to be worked through, but it's putting it up as a barrier rather than just a process. All right, I'll just make that comment. I'll accept the change because it explores options, but it seems to be creating a mountain out of a molehill.
Okay. Councillor Neal, and then I'm going to get Councillor McGregor just to, I guess, have the final wind up, and then we'll put it to a vote.
Yes, just a very brief comment, Madam Chair, and that's in relation to the question some time ago now as to where the demolition of the Park House came from. If you go back to the original Kibble Park design, that's in fact what it said, that the Gosford Library be retained and the Park House be demolished. And somehow, subsequent to that, that became reversed, but that was the original proposition.
Thank you, Councillor Neal. Councillor McGregor, do you want to wind up debate before we put this to a vote?
Yeah, just before we did, it's just come to my attention, number 7, it says the funding allocated demolition of library building be retained or restricted for capital works. I think it maybe should be a little bit more prescriptive and just say on the library building itself,
Yeah.
on the library building, the existing library building, because when it says for capital works, some people might think that could go into other ones. All right, so I'll rise to close the debate. Councillors, thanks for the spirit of compromise, and it's nice to see everyone having their 2 cents. Now, we've gone over the issues with this. There is nothing in front of us which is unlawful. There's nothing in front of us which is not understood. There's nothing in front of us that I would believe that recommendation to the full council and the council officers is not able to be implemented. And in the event that it isn't, it would be my expectation that something would then come back to the full 15 to try and seek a way forward on that. Councillors, I'm very thankful that it seems to be that a majority and potentially even maybe a unanimous verdict will be reached on this one in regards to following the community groups. So I want to take the time to pay tribute to all those activists in the community, and particularly those people that aren't activists who signed a petition or participated in the consultation, because the majority was so strong that it's clear there are a lot of people that are not particularly involved in council activities, activism or politics in general who are engaging with this. This is something that goes right to the very heart of Gosford and right to the very heart of our Central Coast community. So I'm pleased to see that at least at this body, it looks like this will go through. And I would strongly encourage the other 15 of us, the other 15 councillors, to support the recommendations from this committee, which are in line with the community. I'd also like to thank the 33 community groups so far. I believe it's rising to 35, the groups who have sought to be involved in seeking the preservation of this right up and down the length and breadth of the Central Coast and across many different backgrounds and interest groups. I'd like to thank the media for their attention to the issue and their fair and balanced reporting. I'm often quite critical of what we see in a lot of the media. They tend to miss the main points of what happened at these meetings. They tend to cover trivialities rather than things of substance. However, it has been the case with this issue that something that is needing to be front and centre has been made that way, and I thank you for that. I'd also like to take the time, and this is going to be controversial, but it is genuine, to thank the people opposite me. I know as a senior staff member, it's a very difficult job that you have to do to maintain that balance between all the different interest groups and responsibilities. And I believe myself genuinely that you have acted fully ethically, and you've done everything you could to balance those different competing interests and priorities. And I thank you for your time, the energy, and the effort that you and your staff have put into this, noting that it's not necessarily easy to deal with some of these contentious issues when you have strong pressure from lots of different angles. Councillors, I'll wrap up and encourage you all to vote for this, but I will say one last thing to those in the gallery, those in the media, and any watching at home. This is not the end of this, okay? The process that has to follow is that this is going to go to council, and then there'll be more to it from now. So it doesn't need to take this as a win or a loss, regardless of your point of view on it. This is just one step in an ongoing process, and I encourage all those who are interested, regardless of their point of view, to be active in following up on this until we get to where we need to get to with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor McGregor. I'd like now to put the motion that is on the screen. All those in favour of the motion, please raise your hand. Myself, that's one. Councillor McDaniels, Councillor McGregor, Councillor Smith, Councillor Stanton, Councillor McQuaid. I declare it carried unanimously. Thank you. And just before we finish, although I think Councillor McGregor's stolen my thunder slightly here, I would also like to thank everybody that's been involved in this process, particularly my fellow councillors on the review panel. This has not been an easy process for any of us. We've all worked our way through it. We've all worked through it in good spirit, and I think we still are. We're still not only speaking to each other, I think we've actually probably developed our relationships with each other through this process. Thank you also to obviously the community members who've been so adamant about trying to get their voices heard and getting their voices heard and making those efforts, and also to the staff as well. We've all been on a journey here, as Councillor McGregor says. There's a lot more steps to go. This is part of the process. But I thank everybody tonight for their attendance, if you're watching at home, and for all the councillors that were here in the room tonight. Thank you. And the meeting is declared closed at 6:03 p.m. Thank you.